brothers, spear, helm, and shield. The reason for quitting. Now, today's topic is going to be very sensitive because you're going to think, why should I ever quit? But there are some lines that are drawn in sand where you should always quit. And it's not spoken about. Nobody talks about the mechanics of quitting. It's just always don't quit. Don't ever give up. But there are times when quitting is healthy and nobody talks about the mechanics of that. And you're going to see as I'm talking about it, but there are some points you need to quit. So now today we're going to look at two things for mechanics to show you when quitting is healthy. And the first thing, we're going to look at addicts, and I'm going to describe the types of obsessive you get and why that affects with when and where you should quit. And then secondly, I'm going to talk about an old addict that I learned from my brother. So let's dive directly into it. Addicts, as you know, either take substances or is addicted to something because, in my personal experience, the way I describe addicts is through control. They've somewhere along the line lost control, and insecurity is a loss of control at some point or some stage in their life. And moving forward, they're obsessed with gaining back that control, and the degree of their obsessiveness of gaining back that control dictates the type of addict, right? So if we look at addicts, you're going to find two types of obsessive. You're going to find a healthy obsessive, and this is not for addicts, but an addict is an over obsessive. Those are the two types of obsessive you get. Now, if we look at somebody like David Goggins,
who's going to carry the boats and the logs?
He's healthily obsessed, but he's bordering on overly obsessed. So to dive into it, healthy obsessed people are people that if you talk to their family, they're going to say they're very driven. They're extremely driven. They set on one goal. They have tunnel vision. They're moving towards that goal at every spare second they have. But it's still done healthily. Their family doesn't see them in a bad light. It doesn't affect the family negatively. In fact, it positively affects the family. They're proud to be part of that journey of that person that's obsessed, right? So obsession, no matter what anybody says, there is healthy obsession. Mostly only your haters or your enemies or somebody that doesn't really want to see you succeed will say you're very obsessed. Only in that matter they'll only say you're obsessed. But you get overly obsessive people, some people that are obsessed in a matter that's not healthy. And we see that in addicts. And there are a few categories that we can name where quitting is necessary. And as I name them, you'll probably be able to tick them off by thinking of any addict that you know. And it's firstly, it affects their health. This is usually for substance addicts. It will eventually start to affect their health negatively. All of these affect negatively, not just a little bit negative. It affects them negatively. It affects their systems negatively. In other words, their family, their friends. They're losing their friends because they're addicted to something. They're losing their family because they're addicted to something, right? The third thing is it affects their finances. And that these two usually correlate because you start to lose your friends and your family as your money dwindles, as you're obsessive and you're affecting their money, as you're taking from them because you're trying to feed your control. You're trying to gain back that control at every turn and corner. You're overly obsessed with gaining back your control. So it negatively affects your finances. And then secondly, it negatively affects your systems. And at any point in that scenario, this can be for somebody who just started to learn music. For example, this person is going to start to learn music. Suddenly they want to become a producer, and they spend 20 hours from their waking moment till they go to bed trying to produce music on any music platform they can get so that they can become a musician, so that they can become a music producer. And that is, okay, it's obsessive, but it's overly obsessive. They're not really talking to family anymore. They're not going out anymore. They singularly focus on this one thing and this one thing only. They're not making other money. They're not making other incomes. They're not studying if they're still at school. And if they're out of school, they're not contributing to their family. They're not doing anything except that one thing. That's overly obsessive. It's the point where you're addicted. Music gives you back your control. That's the point where this is a line in the sand. We need to draw it here. This is a good point to quit. Before that, no quitting. Absolutely true. Everybody that says you must not quit, they're absolutely right. Unless you reach this point, this is the point where you have to sit back and reevaluate what you're doing, because you're costing everything and everyone around you. Your family is concerned for you. They're suffering because of you. Nothing that you're doing now is benefiting anybody, especially not you. Okay, so now that we discussed addicts, we've seen what addicts do. And we've discussed the two types of obsessive. Although that my brother learned me, and whether you're a Christian or an unbeliever, the adage will stay true. And it's that if you push something, eventually, whether it was God's plan for you or not, He will give it to you. And the problem with that is that you're not always equipped for it. In other words, the way I see it is that in this life that we walk down a very large corridor, and we're walking and there's doors everywhere. Some of them are open, some of them are closed, some of them are wooden doors, some are plastic, some are steel doors. And as you're walking down, some are open, which are from your natural talent, from your natural nature, that you will flourish in. These doors are open for you to walk through. Other doors are closed, but they're not locked. They just close, so it takes a little bit of effort for you to walk through them. It's going to take a little bit of effort for you to open that door. And that's where success lies. Great success lies through the closed doors that are not locked. That's where you're getting tested. Are you willing to put in the effort to open the door? And then lastly, you get the doors that's locked. And as you're walking through these corridors, if you're trying to strive for success, let's say the music producer, if you're trying to become a music producer, but that door is locked, you're going to claw and claw and claw and claw, and eventually that door will open for you, because that door has been stained in your blood. It doesn't know where your blood begins and it as a door ends. So it's going to open for you because you're now so a part of that door, it cannot let itself suffer because you're suffering. And that's as good as Him suffering, because your blood is seeped into the door, and it's going to unlock itself, and you're going to enter, and you're not prepared for what's on the other side of that door, because it was never your chosen fate. It was never your chosen destiny. It was never God's plan for you to walk through that door, but you clawed your way until it opened. And there's a big difference between a 20-ton steel door that you have to open. You have to be obsessed to open that door, because it's not locked. It's just heavy as all hell. You're not going to easily open it. And a wooden door that's locked, that you're clawing your fingers away at. And so it's your duty, it's your responsibility as a living human to realize whether you're clawing at a closed, shut door, or whether you're clawing at a door that's just been closed, but it's unlocked. That's the point. You step back, reevaluate, and then say, okay, I've been here. This was a dream of mine. It can't be achieved. What other dreams do I have that are just as significant as this one? To move to another stage. Maybe I can move through something and eventually reach another end goal, because our goals are made through an end goal. We have a vision, an end place that we want. And there's more than one pathway to get there. You can't be obsessed with a certain pathway if it's shut. That's unfortunately how life works. So now that you understand the mechanics of quitting, as a few last words, I want to encourage you. Don't quit. 100%. Be obsessed. Absolutely be obsessed. If you have something, get tunnel vision. Get that thing in view. Focus on it. Shut it down. Make it up. Make it happen. But somewhere along the line, you're going to have to evaluate. That's why Socrates was declared the smartest by all the wisest by all the oracles, because he eventually stepped back and reevaluated. And you have to do the same. If you're obsessed and you have tunnel vision, somewhere just step back. It's not unhealthy to have tunnel vision. It's not unhealthy to be obsessed. It's unhealthy to never step back and reevaluate. As whatever role you're playing in this life, it's your role to step back and reevaluate. And then to choose whether continuing will hurt your system, will hurt you, or will it bring great benefit to whatever you're trying to achieve. And that has been when to know to quit. Thank you.